Massive has just switched from ETFs into Altseason, and the reason why, of course, I'm sure many of you out there have already seen, judge rules in favor of Ripple. XRP is not a security, and that opens a massive can of worms for the other altcoins and whether they will be labeled as securities under the same act. So very, very interesting. In other news, if you look over here as well, 𝗕𝗫𝗃 was arrested. So there is a major crypto cleanup which is currently taking place at exactly the same time, and overall it's looking pretty good. I actually just noticed 𝗕𝗫𝗃 follows me. So we'll see how that plans out in the future. And look, if you take a look at the Banter Bubbles chart over here, massive pumps. XRP went up almost 100% in the matter of 24 hours, which is a huge move. There is going to be a major inefficiency candle there though, which you know what that means. That means that there's a big trade opportunity, and a lot of that inefficiency will be refilled on the price chart. This led to, of course, major short liquidations. You can see the shorts that got liquidated over here, a huge amount, which was $183 million worth of shorts that got liquidated. And if you take a look at Bitcoin is still struggling with this area over here, yet to break out, so still pausing and consolidating around this region. But if altcoins do get popping and the risk appetite comes back into the market, bringing new money flow into the market, you would expect that this bull flag will eventually break out. And this is one reason why I said, despite seeing multiple spinning top candles over here, despite many top analysts calling for $28,500, I personally was not willing to sell out of my Bitcoin. I wanted to rather hold through all of this, and instead of waiting for the dip, if the dip came, cool, I would add some of that onto a margin trade, but otherwise continue to remain within my positions, which I've had for a very long period of time, expecting a breakout. And once you do get this breakout, I'd expect that you're not going to be coming down below this $29,000 region for quite a long period of time. So that is Bitcoin over there, still stuck within the parallel channel. Again, you can see the resistance. You have the horizontal resistance as well as the middle of the channel. But once Bitcoin gets above that $32,000, it should be like a hot knife through butter, which should take you straight towards that $36,000 to $37,000 level. So all in all, looking pretty good. Remember, we have also now closed multiple weeks above the top side of the Gaussian channel. You do have the 9 and the 18 exponential moving average trending up and spreading away from each other, which is also a very positive sign, adding additional and major support below that $29,000 region, meaning that that level should hold, especially if we do break out and clear above this major $32,000 resistance. NASDAQ continues on up, S&P 500 continuing up, Bitcoin catching up to the S&P 500, and now you have a big move which just took place on Ethereum, catching up towards Bitcoin. So that flow of money is starting to happen quicker than most of us anticipated, moving from Bitcoin into Ethereum into the large caps, and then you go into the mid caps and then the low caps. So today's focus will most definitely be to focus on a lot of those altcoins. We'll go through the entirety of the list, and we will see if anything major has changed amongst some of these coins. One of the other ones that we've been looking at a lot for the past couple of days, I think since last week already, has been Solana, and there are some notable changes on Solana against BTC. We already identified Solana breaking into a key level, as well as Solana breaking structure against Ethereum, and we just needed that one more tick box, which is going to be the SOL BTC chart to break key structure, which I think may be happening right now. So before we move on, smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. It really helps to get the show content out there. Remember, Josh gets paid off the likes. If you don't hit the like button, he doesn't eat at the end of the month. And the rumor has it that if you bring 1,000 likes today, it's going to bring the bull run back. So make sure you smash the like button over there, and let's continue. S&P 500, you can see continuing into this zone over here. This is a very key level, which is going to be added resistance. But once you get above that, it's going to be similar to Bitcoin breaking through that $32,000 level. You would expect big moves over there. You can see over here as well, if you look at the QQQ, which is the NASDAQ, also continuing on towards highs. It's not too far from the all-time highs at the moment. How far are you already from making new all-time highs? Only 7.7%. When you consider how bearish many of the macro analysts still are, it's quite insane to think you're only 7% away from making new all-time highs. And then you have Coinbase over here making a massive resurgence, big move up. Look at that, 24.49% up on the day. Obviously indicative that they're probably also going to start to win their cases against the SEC. So all in all, it is a massive win for crypto. We should be very, very pleased whether you're an 𝗟𝗶𝗄𝗪 or not. It's all good. It's all good news. It's great for the crypto market as a whole. I am not an 𝗟𝗶 holder, but I'm super amped. I'm very, very glad that 𝗟𝗃 have won this case and is continuing to rally, because it just means additional money flow which will come into crypto, which will reestablish the space and bring new confidence back. And that is the making of how you start off these bull runs, which we still on the tinge of getting into that zone. We don't have ultimate confirmation yet, at least as per the altcoins. Bitcoin is looking good, but we still need to be patient on some of the altcoins. And where would the liquidity come from to bring back these markets? Well, we did identify also yesterday the major breakdown that you're getting over here on the DXY, the dollar index breaking a super key level, which was coming in at 100.8, and the break below that level could bring major liquidity back into crypto, because people will start dumping their dollars and moving into other assets, whether that be the stock market or crypto. Remember, they almost move in unison. If the stock market goes up, then typically crypto goes up with that. That spillover effect takes place where the money moves from the stock market into Bitcoin, Bitcoin into ETH into the large caps then goes into mid caps into low caps, into micro caps, and then that is how the cycle ends up playing out time and time again. So what are the levels over here for the DXY? Well, you can see the DXY, super key level. This is technically a major support zone, so you have to wait for confirmation and closes below that to confirm the ultimate breakdown. But ultimately you have the dollar operating within this parallel channel, which is rising towards the upside, but still that's a lot of room towards the downside before you reach major support, which is coming in all the way, depending on when it happens, in that 90 region, the low 90 region over there. And a lot of things are lining up. If you look at this tweet over here from 𝗕𝗏𝗏, a beautiful tweet. He says, a lot of decisive moves all over the board this week. You have BTC 1 week, which is broken out of a 2-year downward channel, which is pretty significant. There you have it, the green channel over there, parallel channel heading towards the downside. We've now started to close outside of that, which is a very significant move for Bitcoin. You have the DXY broken down below the neckline, V-top, which is also a complex head and shoulders pattern. So here you have it. That is the US dollar breaking down below that key level. And then you have the S&P 500 bouncing significantly from a very important level of support, while simultaneously playing out as well that inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is a bullish reversal pattern. That confirmation with a break and close above the neckline and coming back to retest into that adds validity and significance to this head and shoulders pattern, which ultimately should lead prices into new all-time highs. And then lastly, you have the XRP, which is now broken above the simple 200-week moving average, which is the blue line over here. And we still need to wait for the close, right? We need the weekly close. I mean, it would be pretty catastrophic if it had to sell off and close back below there. That would be incredibly bearish, but I think the probability of that happening is very low at the moment. So my expectation would be that you're going to see a close above here. You might see a little bit of a pullback to refill that inefficiency candle on XRP. And ultimately, that is where the money is going to start to pile in on that next pullback. So what exactly has happened over here? Well, TED Talks really summarized it nicely. He says, are you still struggling to see the light? Let me just break it down for you. This is what's happened. Today, the SEC just got a slap in the face with regard to the ideology that all altcoins are unregistered securities. So that might be something that they can't use against crypto anymore. The Fed are close to pivoting away from their most aggressive tightening regime in history, and they'll likely need to cut next year, which is going to be good for the monetary policy. A spot Bitcoin ETF is under consideration in the US, which will potentially open the floodgates for hundreds of billions or even possibly trillions of dollars into BTC as an asset class. Remember, obviously, the more money that comes into the market, the bigger the market cap becomes, and ultimately that leads to higher prices. Currently, Bitcoin has a lot of upside potential if it is to catch up to the gold market cap, which is in the trillions of dollars region already. So he says, yeah, many investors are still sidelined with bear market PTSD. Remember, this is normal market psychology, guys. Oftentimes the market bottoms on the absolute worst news. FTX is one thing that comes to mind. A lot of market participants were absolutely wrecked. I know a lot of top traders and fund managers personally who are still yet to jump back into the market because of this PTSD of what happened with FTX. And that's usually when the market starts to rally, leaving them sidelined and having to chase price action towards the upside. So this is why on this channel, we're very objective. We don't use feelings or bias. We look simply at the price action, and the price action has been high highs and high lows for quite a significant amount of time, which means we've been long. We've been long for quite a long time. And if you followed me along with this, well, you should be majorly in the profit. What's up, Sheldon?
Cool, baby.
Sheldon's here as well. I'm sure he's very excited with XRP.
Have a little
How's it?
What's happening?
Good on yourself, bro. So many investors are still sidelined. There's 4 sellers from FTX, Celsius, Luna, 𝗃 Capital. They're all out of the market now. That forced liquidation event has pulled them out, and the market has essentially capitulated for the most part. So no more coins to sell. Remember, there is still the Mt. Gox overhang, as well as the coins that the government has confiscated from Silk Road. However, there's speculation that they've already started to sell some of those, which shows strong absorption. If that is the case and the Silk Road coins have in fact been sold, then strong absorption over there. The Bitcoin halving is 300 days away. We know the narrative around the halving. We know that history doesn't always repeat exact, but it rhymes in a very, very similar fashion. And that's something important to consider. And then you have the largest asset managers in the world, bullish on BTC. What more could you ask for other than a fairy tale ending, which is BlackRock alone with $9 trillion of assets under management. So that is your fundamental analysis for Bitcoin and the reason why this run could potentially be taking place. And this is kind of the narrative, right? You have the really not so smart money over here bidding. Low IQ score, 0.1 on the IQ scale over here. And then you have the 145 IQs, which is the smartest people bidding, and then everyone in between, which says this time's different, and they seem to be completely sidelined. Okay, let me know in the chat if you caught any good longs. And if you see anything, any interesting setups, let me know in the comment section below. And then remember to smash the like button. And let's go into what's going on over here on the total market cap. So very, very key and important level that I'm focused on over here is the liquidity on the left-hand side. This is for the total market cap at $1.326 trillion. That is the level of interest. We are bouncing off of the top side of the range. Remember, this is the long-term range that we held for pretty much most of the bear market. Reclaim that level, holding that level, and having a sharp reaction off the top side. Let's see what happens when price starts to clear above here. From a Wyckoff accumulation perspective, if you look at that schematic, you would expect that that would be your markup phase. That's where the whole market really begins to rip. That's total. What about total 2? Total 2 also holding above that mid-range level over here, bouncing off of that. We were breaking below it, but look, big deviation back above. As long as we can continue to close and hold above that level, then ultimately expect total 2, which is Ethereum and all the other altcoins, to have new money flowing into the market, to trend back towards the top side over here. And then similar to the total market cap, we need to break and hold above that $726 billion level. Breaking and holding in this zone over here will probably confirm this as a major deviation, and ultimately we can start to look towards potentially higher prices. Total 3, because this is where the most action happens in total 3. These are the biggest, fastest moving coins. Or I shouldn't say the biggest moving, but they are the mid cap to low cap coins which move the quickest. This is why I focused a lot of attention on this, and I have this Wyckoff accumulation schematic pointed out over here, where we said we're waiting for that sign of strength phase, which is going to be where this red box is that I've highlighted over there. That is the zone that we need to get into to confirm that altcoins are really starting to run. And from a comparison perspective, you can see over here, you had the phase A strong move down. Then you had phase B, which is currently the phase that we're in over here. So I'll mark it out. There we go, phase B. And now we're just coming into phase C. Phase C is where you start to move up slowly, consolidate, and then you enter into phase D, where things really start to get moving, the LPS phase, and you get into that SOS phase, which is 450 billion, hold and consolidate above that level. You've now broken out of your range, your horizontal range, you've broken the diagonal downtrend, and ultimately it's onwards and upwards. So that is the hyper focus. That is what we're looking at the moment. We're super focused on that SOS phase. We need to see price get above that. You can see price is going to be coming into resistance. Let's quickly clear that up for you and just turn that down. So currently, if you look at price, this is going to be resistance right now. 390 to 404 billion is a lot of resistance for the altcoin market. So be careful in getting too excited and chasing any old altcoin. Make sure the altcoin is in an uptrend against Bitcoin before you start to move your hard-earned money, right? It's your hard-earned money. You guys have saved it for a long period of time. You've worked really hard for it, and you've survived the majority of the bear market. Don't give it away too quickly. Make sure you're playing the coins with more strength. ETH BTC. Okay, we started to deviate back into the range. This creates an interesting environment. Why is it an interesting environment? Based on the XRP news and the new narrative that maybe most of these coins are not going to be securities, this could change the entire risk appetite of the market, and it could actually push ETH BTC back up towards higher levels, making this a deviation back into the range. So now we need to pay close attention to ETH BTC, whereas previously, which is still the case from a technical perspective, this is still the case. Nothing has changed. You have your down-sloping trend line over here. You have your break below or rejection from the mid-range, which is this whole area, while simultaneously rejecting or deviating back below the down-sloping trend line. From a technical perspective, I still expect that this would be a rejection. If it is, you're expecting ETH BTC to come all the way down to target 2. Why am I mentioning this? I'm mentioning this because if in the off chance that you start to break above this trend line again and hold above that level, well, I might start to change the bias and call this high low 1, high low 2, and maybe you start to form a third high low. In that instance, you're deviating one big deviation back into the range, head towards mid-range, and then again, we start to target back up towards the range high, meaning that potentially ETH could be the better play. It's not the case yet. It's not the case yet. Remember, we always plan multiple different scenarios, and we're just trying to look forward on what could potentially happen in the days to come. Because Bitcoin dominance also had a sharp turn towards the downside. Now, this is why you need to line these two up and be very, very careful when price action comes into this zone over here, which is your prior range high. Technically, again, from a technical perspective, what do you expect? After a it's not even a multi-month. I think this could even be a couple of years, a year and a half. After a year and a half's range-bound trade over here, which is Bitcoin dominant, stuck within the range. When you break out of a range after that long and you come back, technically you would expect that to be a retest of support. So you need to watch. You need to be very, very sure that you correlate both Bitcoin dominance, which is this chart over here, coming into the top side of the range high, retesting that as support, and seeing what is going on this chart. If simultaneously this chart is failing key levels, well, ultimately, then you know your answer. You're better off still being in Bitcoin. So Solana BTC, there's the big change that took place. This was something that we were outlining for quite some time. Yesterday, we identified that SOL was breaking out against ETH. So here you have it. Let's just quickly move that back up. Here's your Solana ETH chart. Clean that up for you. Your range, your mid-range level, you're breaking the diagonal, coming and consolidating within the yellow circle. And that ultimately is going to lead to continuation. We then went on to the Bitcoin, the SOL Bitcoin chart over here. And we said, could the same thing be happening over here? It is a possibility. We need to consolidate and hold above this resistance level over here. But nevertheless, we have a clean and clear break of structure with a daily close. Yesterday's daily close closed above that, confirming the break of structure. And therefore, this shows that the risk appetite might start to shift out of Bitcoin and into some of these altcoins, which are higher beta plays, looking for bigger moves, right? More risk, more reward, bigger moves. So that is a possibility. Watch for the consolidation over here or the throwback into support. Probably doesn't come all the way into this trend line now because you've had such a massive move. Probably would look something like this. Current price action as it's moving back into the 0.0008 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗪 level. That could be your zone to get an entry into Solana and then ultimately continuation up. Your real confirmed bullish break is when you get above this zone over here. That means you're leaving that range, right? Because this is going to be your range high coming in at 11,953. Just reading out those last numbers. All right. Let's look at the pivot levels. Bitcoin pivot level holding above over here, 31,162, closed above the pivot level. Let's see, that could create continuation upwards. Ethereum had a bigger move above its pivot level at 1,944. Strong close, holding above there. It looks stronger from a USD perspective. ETH USD looks stronger right now to me than what Bitcoin USD does, because you can see Bitcoin USD already pulling back, a little bit of a wick on the top side. Ethereum, if you compare to that, strong close, hardly any wick, showing extreme buying pressure and demand over there. All right, let's look at Bitcoin over here on the 4-hour time frame. Remember, the moving averages will act as support. If it does come all the way down into 30,700, which is your 21 exponential moving average for Bitcoin, probably going to be an area of support. Next zone, 30,600. Wouldn't really want to see it lose that. If prices are going to get going now, we want to see that 50 EMA hold. What about Ethereum? Look, big, strong move up over there, deviating away from the 50 and the 21. Your 50 is coming in at 1,901. I wouldn't want to see Ethereum come all the way down to that 50 though. In this instance, you want to see Ethereum now consolidating around this $2,000 mark at the low side, 1,998. And then ultimately we're moving towards the next target, which actually the target was hit 2020. We had that target for a couple of weeks now. 2027 was hit, so we have hit the liquidity target that we outlined. Okay, Bitcoin low time frame. What's going on over here? Again, long-term range that we are looking at, we said liquidity to liquidity. Remember, there would only be a short opportunity if you break and close back into this range. If you do not do that, then you consider this liquidity grab, consolidation on the top side of the range. If the market starts to process this and gain acceptance above that top of the range, which is right where price is now, 31,300, and it holds that level, well, that's bullish. It's probably going to have continuation upwards, and the move is not over yet. So do keep that in mind. As from a liquidation delta standpoint, you can see, of course, after the XRP case, most of the market is now stacked on the positive side, looking for longs. And then liquidity standpoint, the liquidity has officially been grabbed over here. You have a strong price action push into that zone, and your downside liquidity is now 29,750. Okay, let's go into the altcoins. My charts do seem a little bit laggy, so I do apologize. But nevertheless, let's quickly get into the altcoins. Let's go into XRP, and we'll look at all the different ranges that are formed over here. So this is an enormous move. What you need to know over here for XRP is that it is so far extended away from the 200-day moving average. If I was somebody that had been in XRP and I'd been holding this position, you can see we did bring these on the streams before. We said you have your lows coming into the bottom of the range low, higher low, higher low, higher low. As long as this trend line continues to hold, you could technically be in XRP, and it is an ascending triangle as well, which would have had a measured move up to about 75, so 75 cents. Of course, absolutely annihilated that level in one foul swoop. No chance to get in that unless you had already been within this trade beforehand. Had I been in that trade, I would be taking profits now. Just me personally, I think that you can bank some of the money. Big inefficiency candle. Price action is probably going to come down. We are only around 250 likes away from 1,000, guys. For 250 of you guys out there, please do me the massive favor and smash the like button. Take 1 second out your day. It truly helps to get the show content out there. Okay, so that is XRP. Expect a little bit of a pullback from the zone. Oftentimes you'll fill at least half of this candle, and then so you might see it slowly trending down towards that 66, 67 level, and then it's probably going to reaccumulate on from that level. Atom. Okay. Atom looking pretty damn good over here. Why is Atom looking good? Well, ultimately, it's within a strong range. This is your key levels around that $9.65 zone. That's your one key level. Your next major resistance is coming all the way up at $15.35, between $15.35 and $16. but you're now breaking your downsloping trend line. And remember, you have to know the narratives, right? When there's risk appetite coming back into the market, you could potentially see something like this running. You got your nice downsloping trend line. You have your big push into that. New daily candle opens above that. This is something we outlined on a previous show. I haven't even changed the drawings over here. I wouldn't necessarily be waiting for a strong pullback, but where should your risk be defined? If you were to take a long trade over here, ultimately, I would say yesterday's low, yesterday's daily candle low, price action should not be coming below there for AVAX, which is $8.90. As long as price holds above this level over here, and I'll draw the line in. There we go. Let's make it nice and big, make it white. There we go. As long as it holds above this level over here, probably going to get continuation. You're breaking your momentum trend line. Next resistance is going to be the 200-day moving average. But if it's going to play out like a lot of the other coins like Solana's, for example, then you expect a break and hold above that 200-day moving average. And that's where the market really starts to get exciting, right? That's where most market participants accept that things have changed and market's looking healthy. And every time you come back into the 200-day moving average, algorithms start to place bids, right? Big market makers and algorithms start to place bids, and you expect continuation up. Okay, Chainlink. Let's look at Chainlink. We identified a long time ago the PO3, right? The power of 3 play, which was the deviation below. Let's just see if that's going to load up. Very slow charts today. I don't know why. Maybe TradingView is overexcited with all the action that's finally coming back in crypto. But ultimately, you are back above your 200-day moving average. So that is, in fact, looking good. This was a potential power of 3 play, right? It could have gone lower. Maybe it still could, but at the moment, we'll treat it that way. What do I mean by the power of 3? Well, ultimately, you have this accumulation phase, a long-term accumulation phase. Then you have what's called manipulation, whereby market makers push price below all these wicks, wiping out all the guys that have accumulated for the good part of a year. That is your manipulation. And then ultimately that goes into expansion, which is pretty much straight up. And that will go into your next major resistance zones. You would be targeting potentially as high as $17.90 on something like Chainlink if the PO3 were to play out. So the reclaim of the 200-day moving average is looking good. Definitely a good sign over there. And you want to continue to hold the higher lows, right? You got your lows over here, higher low. You have your consolidation, which is still yet another higher low. So hold above $5.98 and Chainlink looks good. Solana, I think we've covered a lot of Solana over here. This was the zone. This was the zone that we were saying consolidation above the 200-day moving average. Any tests into the 200-day moving average are buy the dip opportunities. It was covered in the daily candle newsletter this week as well before this move took place. And we said expect this to be your new range. Look, fair enough, smashed absolutely straight through that new range. If it gains acceptance above the $27 level over here, well, then you're going to be looking at a different range. Now your new range is going to end up being between $27 and up to potentially $38. So Solana from extreme fear down here at $12.91 has moved all the way up to $32.17. What is that as a move, percentage move? Big move. That is 149% move. Let's be realistic. Where did we call it from? We called it from here. Once we broke back above the 200, we said now it's starting to look healthy. So from there to there was a 35% move. If you managed to shave it off at the top, you got a 58% move. All right, let's look at Cardano. Very slow. What is going on with this trading view? If these are going to be too slow, I might drop it in the Discord because, I don't know, they're loading in very slowly over here. But if you look at Cardano, you have a parallel channel coming towards the downside. You have your top side of the range, which is going to be resistance. I think this is going to be a lot of resistance because you met with both diagonal and horizontal resistance. So for Cardano, it really needs to get above between 40 and really, I would say, it needs to hold above 42.7 cents, right? That's the zone that it needs to get above. If it can hold above that, you're breaking a major downward trend. And ultimately, I think risk will come back into the market. Okay, AVAX. Let's take a look at AVAX. If it loads. While we wait, smash the like button. Also, let me know in the comments if you did catch a long. What did they say, Josh? Did they catch any longs? How many of them caught longs there? 60% caught longs. So you're a very smart, intelligent community which trades in line with the trend. Congratulations. For the rest of you, doesn't mean you're not intelligent. Sometimes you miss the longs. It's okay. I know a lot of top traders that were still looking for 28,500 and a sweep of those lows. It didn't come. It is what it is. You'll catch the next one. Okay, AVAX. Big move over here. It is breaking. There you go. Deviating. There we go, back into the trend, which is a good thing over here. Again, you're going to have a little bit of a pause coming into the 200-day moving average, but ultimately holding back above that 1475 level is going to be break back into the range. That's your confirmation of the deviation over here. And then ultimately you can start to target towards 1766 and then maybe up to 2122 if this entire range holds. And then once you get above that, well, then we're going to be in full-blown bull market. Okay, let me look at maybe two more because I do apologize. It's very slow. I had the intention of going through all of these different altcoins, but let's look at Aptos over here. Okay, let's see. Aptos. Will it load? I'll restart my laptop before the next show. I'm not sure why this is so slow. Let's see. I'll give it a few seconds. Okay, Aptos is not working. Aptos, Uniswap, 𝗬𝗍, 𝗲𝗿𝗍, near Perpetual USD. Those look good. I want to show you Perpetual if I can just get onto Perpetual. I think Perpetual was in a very decent zone. And then the rest of them I can try and post. Okay, so here you have PERP protocol. Also a nice deviation back into the range. Not looking too bad. For any of these that have deviated back into the range, look at the yesterday's low. Basically, you don't want price to come under yesterday's low. If you're taking any longs on these coins, yesterday's low is where your stop would go, below the wick of that, especially if you look a couple of days back. Those are the ultimate lows, high lows, right? High low, high low, high low. You want this to be a confirmed deviation and you might get a bit of a spike up. Okay, let's just try near. Let's just see. Maybe it loads quicker. That looks a bit better. Again, near has looked terrible. I'm not going to lie. It's looked really bad. But this could be a deviation back into the range. It's the same thing. You're taking on a lot of risk, right? You're definitely taking on a lot of risk. But if it's something that you do want to bid and you have faith or you're a believer for some reason in near, then stops go below. You don't want to see price come back below this $1.27 zone. 𝗲𝗿𝗍. How does 𝗲𝗿𝗍 look? 𝗲𝗿𝗍 is contending with a longer term trend line over here. This is the zone to clear. Really, 𝗲𝗿𝗍, I'll just wait to break above the 200-day moving average. If you do that, you're probably simultaneously breaking the down sloping trend line. Okay, Polkadot. Here's Polkadot, similar to what we saw on Cardano, because you do have a downsloping trend line coming in here, which matches up with horizontal resistance. That's the zone to clear. But look at that beautiful bounce off of the midline over here. Had a decent bounce deviating back into the range, and ultimately looking for a break and hold above 632 to confirm that this is actually going to get going. 𝗬𝗍 was also one that got very heavily hit. If you look at the coins across the entire crypto market cap, this one, let's see if it will just load. Still below the 200-day moving average. Load. This will be the last one, guys. I don't know. It's very slow. I don't know what's going on over here. There we go. Okay. So ultimate lows, it's a strong downtrend. You cannot deny that, but could momentum be shifting? It could indeed be shifting. You're breaking back into the range. If you can start to close above the $6.25, then most likely your next move is going to be up to 705. Once you clear the 705 region on the left-hand side, altcoins will probably start to get going. Things like this are lagging, but it will get above that. Then you're going to contend with your resistance at $7.99, call it $8 up to $8.50. Break above that $8.50 zone, and pretty much 𝗬𝗍 should be well on its way back into the range and looking for much higher price targets. So guys, that brings us to the end. The computer's too laggy. I do apologize, but we update you in the daily candle newsletter Monday to Friday. Make sure to read that. We'll give a well thought out analysis and a summary of of everything that we've been looking at and speaking about. I will see you all on the next one. Have an absolutely stellar day. I do appreciate each and every one of you. And that's it from me. Cheers for now.